Before I really started getting into YouTube, for nearly 2 decades, I worked as a professional video editor and producer. I worked with entire teams of people, camera operators, lighting crews, I had editors and project managers. But when I started creating my own videos on YouTube, I had to relearn how to do all of that by myself. Not only that, but I don't have a bunch of crazy expensive camera gear, and to be honest, it's actually quite the opposite. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing what I learned in my video professional career, what I learned from watching my favorite creators, and what I learned from creating my own YouTube videos that got me my first 1,000 subscribers. Today, we're talking about how to easily film yourself with cheap gear, cinematically. A cinematic is a term thrown around a lot on YouTube and social media, and I know a lot of old school film heads get their underwear all bunched up when they hear the word. In my opinion, cinematic just means for something to look and feel like a movie. Sorry, I just had to do my best Christopher Nolan there. There are a lot of aspects to it. To be honest, I'm still perfecting some of it. Let's start breaking it down. The first thing that we're going to talk about is lighting. I know a lot of you probably want to know what camera I use, and I will get to that, but I'm telling you right now that lighting is way more important than the camera that you use. On a film set, the director of photography or cinematographer oversees the lighting. So if you want a cinematic look, do as the cinematographer does and focus on lighting. Lighting setups can get ridiculously complicated, and frankly, you probably don't need any crazy setups for YouTube videos, so I'm gonna simplify it as much as I can. I wanted to use this wide angle so you could sort of see what I got going on here. This is the setup that I have for the shots that you saw earlier in this video, sort of showing you how the hot dog is made here. Now when it comes to lighting, the first thing that you want to focus on is your main light or your key light, and that's this guy right over here. And look, I actually had this very, very cheap light. To be honest, it's a little bit harsh, but it works. It does a job. So to make it softer, I'm using this diffusion, which is really just, this is a shower curtain. I'm gonna take it off just so you can see the difference here. Like the light actually came with its own diffusion. It's this cheap light that I got off from Amazon. I don't really like this light, but it's what I have. And I am a big believer in using what you got and trying to make the most out of it. When you're shooting B-roll of yourself and you want that cinematic look, most people will tell you to film on the shadow side, where the shadows are closest to the camera. Now, if you want to have more shadows on one side, what you need is negative fill, something that blocks light, but also sucks in light. And what does that is something black, some sort of black material. Now, I use this cheap foam board. To be honest, it's not the best thing for this. As you can see, it's a little bit reflective, but essentially it is blocking out some of the reflective light that's bouncing off my white walls, and it's also absorbing some of the light. So you can see it's very subtle, but it is adding a little bit more shadows on that side. Now, alternatively, whatever word, you know what I'm trying to say. If you want to fill in the shadows, you could either bring in another light, a fill light, or you could use something white that will reflect light. So I have a light source coming in from this side, and if I have this white foam board, again, I got this black and white foam boards from the dollar store, pretty cheap. But if I place it on this side of my face, you can see that it is now reflecting the light and filling in the shadows. So that's with it. That's without it, that's with it. Now what you would normally do is attach this to some sort of C-stand or something like that. It's basically a flag. I know a lot of beginners probably think that they need to put the light right in front of their face, but what that does is it evenly lights up the face. If that's the look that you want, then okay, sure, but typically that's not a very cinematic look. So you want to place the light off to the side. So I have it roughly 30 to 45 degrees off to the side. Don't worry, you don't need to bust out a protractor or anything like that. You just want it off to the side so that light hits one side of your face and there's shadows on the other side. Those shadows is what you want. That's how you create depth in the shot. That's how you make the shot more cinematic. The same rules apply to natural lighting. A window can be a great key light, but you just need to be aware of where it is in relation to you and the camera. The one thing I don't like about natural lighting is the lack of control, and apparently I have control issues. You obviously can't control how bright the sun is or how the clouds move through the sky. And yeah, you could set up diffusion and all sorts of flags and all that stuff, but it starts to get complicated. And look, we're a one-band crew over here, all right? It's hard enough as it is. So just try to keep it simple, get the job done, aim for greatness, but not perfection. All right. Now the moment you may or may not have been waiting for, my camera gear. All right, let's start with the most important thing you need to film yourself, a tripod. I have this relatively cheap fluid head tripod that's great for filming smooth camera movements, but I also have this cheap tripod, and honestly, I use this one more than the expensive one. It's a little bit easier to set up than the fluid head tripod, and remember, this video is all about making things easy, so get yourself a tripod. Now let's talk about audio. Now, if you haven't heard, sorry, I'm a dad, so I'm just full of dad jokes. But if you haven't heard, audio quality is way more important than video quality. That's why it's important to invest in some sort of microphone. I currently use the Hollyland Lark M2S. I love its small form factor, and it's what I'm using right now. Especially when you wear it on a black shirt or something like that, it's pretty much invisible. If there's one thing that I've held on to from being taught traditional film and video production, it's that you have to hide the microphone. I'm really not a big fan of the big box microphones that are just stapled onto your shirt. I don't know, I just think it looks a little bit ridiculous. Say what you want. I know that we're in this social media age where, we're sort of used to seeing that. I'm still not a big fan of it. So when Hollyland announced the Lark M2S, I just thought it was a perfect microphone. That's why I picked it up. I also have this wireless shotgun mic, the Comica VM30. If you can't tell by now, I love wireless products. I absolutely hate wires. Now, shotgun microphones tend to have better audio quality than lav microphones. And I love this one because it is wireless and it probably doesn't have as good audio quality as similarly priced wired shotgun mics, but it's wireless. I hate wires. Get a microphone. Something that's nice to have and borderline a necessity is an external field monitor. Now, the reason why you might want to get an external monitor is because when you're filming yourself, especially when you're at a distance, it's kind of hard to see the camera screen. So getting yourself an external monitor might be worth it. Now, even though this monitor does the job, to be honest, I'm a big fan of the monitor and control app. So if you use a Sony camera, it's actually what I'm using right now to monitor this whole thing. To be honest, I use this app more than the external monitor when I am filming myself. Now, there are two reasons why I prefer the app versus the field monitor. One, it's wireless, and two, I can remotely hit record straight from the app. So no more pressing record on the camera, running into position, saying your lines, blah, 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 and then running back to the camera and pressing stop on the record. You could just do it all from the app. And speaking of camera, this is my baby, my star, the Sony FX30. I would love to have it, but I'm filming with it right now. Now, this camera is just under $2,000. For what it can do, that's actually a really good price, but I wouldn't necessarily call that cheap. But to be honest, the camera that got me my first 1,000 subscribers was this bad boy right here. This is the Sony a5100. It's a 10-year-old camera that only shoots 1080p, but that's not even its biggest problem. The biggest problem with this camera has nothing to do with the video quality. It's that you can't plug in an external microphone. So you either have to use an external recorder or you have to use the built-in camera mic, which that's not even an option. As much as I love this camera, I just had to move on from it. And when it comes to cameras, I don't want you to think that you need an expensive one to start creating. You could do a lot with older cameras or even your phone. Now, the big difference between a phone and a DSLR or a mirrorless camera or whatever is the use of lenses. I use a Sigma 18 to 50mm zoom lens and a 30mm prime lens. Do I want more lenses? Of course I do. But if I had to choose one, I would get a good all-around zoom lens. Most of the footage you've been seeing in this video was shot with the Sigma 18 to 50mm lens. One thing you'll learn quickly about filming yourself, especially outside, is that you'll need an ND filter. If you want that blurry background, you have to lower the aperture, but doing so opens up the iris and lets more light into the camera. So when you're filming yourself outside, especially on a sunny day, you're gonna need sunglasses for your lens, you're gonna need an ND filter. Now, gear should never stop you from creating. It shouldn't be the reason why you don't even start in the first place. Use whatever gear you have and push it to its limits. Practice with your phone, with whatever 10-year-old camera that you have, and just make the most out of it. Because to be honest, it's not about the gear that you have, it's how you use it. Now that we talked about camera gear, let's talk about shot types and composition. Composition is really what separates the professionals from everyone else, and the most important composition technique that you need to know is the rule of thirds. It's such a fundamental concept. If you don't know what it is, you just have to know what it is. Just turn on the rule of thirds grid on your camera and have your subject or points of interest at these intersecting points. When it comes to filming people, we usually focus on their eyes, so framing up your eyes at these points helps with composition. Remember that rules are meant to be broken, but you have to understand the rules first in order to break them. Now, while there can be some happy accidents, filmmaking really is all about intentionality, and intentionally breaking the rules might lead to some of your best stuff. Now let's talk shot sizes. There are a bunch of commonly used shots in filmmaking, and they each have a specific purpose in telling a story. An establishing shot is typically an extremely wide shot used to set up location. It gives context to where the character is. A wide shot goes in a bit closer, but still gets most or the whole body in frame. It gives context to how the character fits within the area. A medium shot is one of the most common camera shots. It's roughly from the waist up and focuses more on the character. A close-up is used for more intimate moments, so if you want to get all intimate with the viewer, you want a close-up. And you could get closer still with an extreme close-up. Usually these are to show very specific details. How about these vlog-style shots? Now, to be honest, I don't personally think this looks very cinematic. I mean, you don't normally see shots like this used in movies, but some of my favorite creators mix in these vlog-style shots into their videos, and it's kind of what makes YouTube, YouTube. I used to think that YouTube was just a bunch of cooking tutorials and cat videos. It is just way more than that nowadays. There are so many talented people on this platform, people that have inspired me to create for myself. After working in the video industry for so many years, I feel like I finally found my purpose, and that's creating videos that bring me joy, but also help others be able to do the same. So I hope that this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment. To be honest, filming is just a small part of the whole equation. It's not the most important part. I'll be making videos all about this, so when they are ready, they'll be over here. But in the meantime, honestly, you already have the information. You've probably watched a whole bunch of other videos on how to film cinematically and all of this stuff. You have the information. So the most important thing that you need to do is just go and create. Just go. Get whatever camera you have, your phone, whatever you have, and just start filming. Just start making mistakes, learn from them. The best way to learn is to just go out and create. So just go. Just go. Go away. Go create something. All right. Thanks for watching.